Ankit, it looks like that ceasefire has completely vaporized. Nobody knows what Trump or Iran were really talking about, but any window of opportunity to wind down tensions appears to be straight out the window. You've seen the biggest damage in Beersheba, and Israel has just announced a big counter-retaliation, Ankit.
Absolutely. It just took 2.5 hours from 7 a.m. when the ceasefire was supposedly in place, and since then, continuous blaring of the sirens here in Israel to, in fact, throw that ceasefire out of the window, Shiv, as you described it. But very quickly, let me show you, from this vantage point that we are in, the cost of the war. And this is exactly what happened, which was supposedly the last counter-attack that Iran had launched here in Israel to try and diffuse tensions post this. But this apartment building behind me took the direct hit, and at this moment what you are seeing is a massive cleanup operation which is going on by the soldiers of the IDF. I can see a full unit in combat gear. It's heartbreaking. Somebody just tossed a soft toy, a teddy bear. If you can see on my screens at this moment, that soldier, that lady, in fact, taking it away. It must have been in somebody's house in the buildings that were impacted, and which has just come out. Now imagine the death and destruction which has taken place, which was supposedly the last few hours of the hostilities, and this tells you how lives that people had built. This is a proper residential area here in Beersheba, with buildings after buildings, high rises all across, and what you see at this moment is what used to be a building. This is all that remained of the direct impact that took place on this 8-story building, which was in the two apartments right under the terrace, the roof, and both of them have collapsed. Apartments under that have also collapsed, and what you are seeing is the signs of destruction that took place in this residential area in the barrage that in fact was witnessed a while back. Now, Shiv, while you are saying that there is announcement of retaliation from Israel as well, the hope here was that till 7 p.m. There would be cessation of the hostilities, and after that, of course, the Israeli government is going to make some big announcement. Now all that seems to be at this moment standing on a very, very fragile ground, and we will have to wait and see. It once again will prove that somehow the announcement, or the rushed announcement possibly by the President of the United States, was without going into the finer details with both the Israeli side and the Iranian side, so that this could have been a longer peace, at least between both the sides who have been involved in these hostilities for the last 12 days, Shiv.
That window of opportunity has completely ended right now, and this seems to be the third big occasion, Ankit, in the last few days and weeks, where something that Trump has actually announced has turned out to be completely the opposite. He had talked about peace in Russia and Ukraine, and we saw that deep strike conducted by Ukraine. He talked about a de-escalation between Iran and Israel. That didn't happen. He talked about a Nobel Peace Prize, and then he went and bombed Iran. This doesn't seem to be a season of consistency as far as the American leadership is concerned. But the exchange between Iran and Israel at this point of time comes a day after an attack on a US base in Qatar. At least on that front, things have sort of wound down, Ankit. The Iran versus US element of this entire escalation, that appears to have stopped. There's no forward movement there. All the action is where you are.
Absolutely, you are bang on. That it also looked like that this whole thing that happened yesterday, with multiple US bases coming under the fire from the Iranian missiles, which largely were in fact diffused and were neutralized by the air defenses, as Donald Trump said. It more or less was somewhat a show that was put up so that both Iran and United States actually could get an off-ramp of this this crisis. They did not want to continue. Donald Trump knew that he's not going to get that sort of support in America if we actually have to put boots on grounds or have to be drawn in this conflict. Remember, he came to power this time saying that he's going to bring United States out of all the global conflicts that the United States is involved in. And then, of course, with bombing of those bases, nuclear bases and installations in Iran, it was absolutely the opposite that Mr. Trump has promised to his constituents. But it's after what happened yesterday, there was some sort of flimsy expectation that peace may, in fact, be ensued. And if that would have happened, Donald Trump would have, in fact, gone to the town saying that he has once again resolved another conflict, another crisis. But with what has happened this morning and what continues to happen now, because, in northern Israel, there have been sirens which have gone on again. And as you are reporting that the Israeli army, the IDF, has already said that they are engaging in counter retaliation in retaliation of these attacks from Iran. It seems that the opportunity and this little glimmer of hope has completely now been thrown, or at least is buried under the rubble of where I'm standing, Shiv, where you are seeing these visuals of destruction and death which has come in from Israel at this moment, where a massive operation from the rescuers is still on, which it will tell you that that 7 p.m. deadline, not only that deadline now stands on its head. We now don't know the current session, the current round of hostilities, for how long will it go on, because it has already been 12 days. And if this continues, if Israel retaliates, then of course we can expect retaliation from the Iranian side as well. It's the domestic audience for which at this moment the entire play of war is going on. Where is the full stop is something that is anybody's guess.
Ankit, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to urge you to move your position, because I know it isn't safe. There are rescue and relief operations happening, but your safety is paramount. So we're going to ask you to, move as much as possible. But a very quick final question before I let you go, Ankit, is this. You are in Israel at a time when Iranian missiles are landing at locations right behind you. That's number one. Number two, Israel is about to retaliate, and therefore this is a country that you're reporting from that is on the highest state of military alert at this point of time. Air bases, military bases, drone bases, which are not very far from where you are in Beersheba, will also be on a very high state of alert. But most importantly, like you said, the death toll in Israel as a result of these Iranian strikes is something that has never actually been seen before. Iranian attacks with missiles and drones have usually targeted areas that are not population centers. This time they have specifically targeted population centers, and that's why things are different. And that's why what you're seeing on the ground hasn't been seen for many, many decades, Ankit.
Absolutely. This time, there have been, while you were speaking about this, I just went back to a day before where in Tel Aviv, there was, we showed you the shopping center and the residential area where the attack took place. And I spoke to one person who was taking the stuff out from his daughter's residence, which was impacted. And this is exactly what he said. He said, we are ready to pay the price in terms of the buildings. They can be rebuilt. But if lives are lost, this is not something that the Israelis are ready to stand by with. And that is exactly what has happened this morning. And also during this entire conflict, I will have to once recheck, but if I stand correct, if I remember correctly, the death toll throughout the 12 days now in Israel stands over 25. So between 25 to 29 is the number of dead this time in this conflict has been. And that takes a huge amount of toll and also pressure as far as the government is concerned for any kind of step back. The Iranian, of course, there have been retaliations and there have been a lot of destruction in Iran as well. But reporting from the country where I am in at this moment, that it becomes a very important figure for any sort of decision to go forward, which can be taken by Benjamin Netanyahu. Just earlier, just before these raid sirens, the alert sirens were sounded off in northern Israel, there was expectation from the Prime Minister's office. A full statement came in that objectives have been achieved. The Prime Minister is going to make a statement. He will speak to the people of Israel. Now that seems he would be in a very, very difficult position if even he was thinking of coming out and announcing some sort of ceasefire with what has happened, Shiv.
Ankit, a small final question before I let you go. The people that you're speaking to, the rescue staff, the first responders who are there in all of those places right now, military reservists that you're seeing, come out of vacation or wherever they are to serve their country. That is one thing you're seeing everywhere in Israel. I notice it's there in almost every frame that you're sending us as well. This is clearly a country that is in its highest state of alert, where citizens are pitching in as well.
I can tell you one thing, and this was my first time in Israel, and that too under the most trying circumstances. I have never seen any other place where people are so prepared for a situation like this. Nobody wants a war, but, like we go, since morning, 4 times we had to run to the bomb shelters, and within moments, as soon as the raid siren goes off, people are back doing what they are. Every location of impact that I have been to, apart from, of course, the government agencies, the reservists, the forces, and everybody else, there are a group of volunteers that you will see set up tents, helping people, giving them, directions, helping them clean out their houses or whatever is left of their houses. So it is a country which has seen conflicts after conflicts, and the result of that, of course, is yes, there is tension, yes, there is fear, but it more or less has become part of life, and that is why they are not worried, in a sense, with the kind of impact that it is taking. The only question was that people are extremely, serious about the death toll. Once the numbers of the dead start coming in, that's where the pressure starts building in. The buildings being damaged largely don't have the same impact. So this is, the country at the highest state of alert, and where the people were possibly today hoping that this is going to result in some sort of de-escalation with what has happened now. And like you are pointing out, IDF is preparing for some sort of retaliation towards Iran. That window for the people, those who are hoping that it is not going to be a long drawn Gaza type of situation, that very little glimmer of hope seems to be completely under the rubble of this building that I'm standing here.